Hello, art lovers. This is Jon McNaughton. I'm in my studio, and welcome to the Patriot Art Show. I'm your host, Jon McNaughton, and today we got some really cool things to talk about. We're gonna talk about conspiracy theories, and I've done a sketch of Alex Jones. If you take a look up here on the screen, I drew that today. I've always wanted to draw Alex Jones. I may put him in a painting someday. He's an interesting character, you know. uh, you know, I've listened to Alex Jones in the past a little bit. I thought he was really funny, and I think that's part of his brand. It's so outrageous that you can't help but want to listen to what he was saying. And of course, our brother Alex Jones here was completely banned off every platform several years ago. He was like one of the first to really experience cancel culture to its finest. And, it's whether you like him or don't like him, he's an interesting, I think, historical figure. And so kind of want to talk about him today a little bit, as well as conspiracy theories, the nature of conspiracy theories, without necessarily talking about every one of them. There's so many. However, at the very end of this Patriot show, we're going to reveal to you a conspiracy theory we found that we think you will find interesting. This is my friend Seth Adam Smith. He's the producer. Can't hear you, Seth.
Sorry, I had the microphone on mute.
You're my silent partner.
Yeah, there you go. I'm just here to make sure everything goes smoothly after that technical problem. I'm reading the comments and displaying them. If you have something to say, I'm trying to display them so John can see them. If you have a question, send us a super chat via YouTube, and John will answer it at the end of the show.
Sure, I'd love to. But just don't ask me what I think about some of these crazy conspiracy theories, because I don't want to get banned just yet. I'm not quite ready to be banned off all the platforms like Alex Jones. My paintings are, they have a lot of deep meaning behind them, and maybe a little bit of conspiracy theory here and there. But, I'm not quite as in your face as Alex Jones is, a little more subtle. But, there's a place for a guy like that. And, I've listened to him over the years. I haven't listened to him as much recently. It's funny because, some of the stuff he talks about, as far as, government overreach, we've seen a lot of that happen, since Trump became president, with the Steele dossier and the fake, the witch hunt, the Russian hoax and all of that. And then with what's happened with the vaccines and all the lockdowns. I mean, things are just crazy. So I'm not going to go into that much, but I'm going to take you back down. I'm going to walk you through some of my paintings and talk to you about a little bit of some conspiracy theory stuff from the McNaughton point of view. So this was my painting called "You Are Fake News." And Trump, he made that phrase famous. And, at first he used to do the press briefings in the press corps room, and they'd come in there and they were just so rude, and they would throw out stuff that was outrageous. And so Trump was smart enough to tell him that he was no longer going to do those formal meetings because they're all just a bunch of fake news. So he had him come out on the lawn of the White House, and he would give them just a few minutes before he'd get on the helicopter if they wanted to ask him questions. And it was always really noisy, and he would pick who he was going to ask. And I just thought that was hilarious because he completely owned him. He owned him. And so I thought it makes a lot of sense to make the press look like they're just a lot of clowns, and they're holding up those long mics, and he's pointing at him. He's like, "You are fake news." And if you look real closely in the clowns, you'll recognize a few people that might stand out right in the middle there. Who's that? Who is that, Seth? Oh, you're my silent partner.
No. That's Jim Acosta. Yeah,
Jim Acosta, right? And there's a mime in front of him, and above the mime, there's this happy little ape. And Seth pointed out to me that on the top there, that's Pennywise. I forgot I put him in there.
I didn't point it out to you.
Creepy.
Yeah, yeah.
Creepy. The clown that's right behind Acosta, he's pretty creepy looking too. And then you got the Kabuki theater guy, the Japanese clown.
Speaking of Kabuki theater, I remember listening to Andrew Clavin. He's a great commentator, conservative commentator, and he was talking about how, man, our government is all Kabuki theater, where they're put on a show and they pretend to be sad or angry or happy, and they're just making away with all of our money.
Yeah, there's a lot of fakery going on. So in this painting, it also has the Joker from Batman way at the top, but you can't see it.
We'll back up here. You can kind of see it. Very top. Very, very
top.
very,
very top with the green hair. So I have fun with these paintings. They have deep meaning, and they're a little bit, they're kind of humorous when you first look at it. When you think about it, it's not really that funny. What the press did to really promote a conspiracy theory against President Trump, I think was so outrageous and so not good for the American people. And it turned out that everything that they were saying about him was untrue. About this whole the Russian the dossier that was used to bring all those investigations against Trump. It lasted his entire presidency. There's put up the next painting that I did. This one is called "Expose the Truth," and I had Trump grabbing Robert Mueller by the necktie. He's holding a magnifying glass up to him, and of course, when I painted this, some people thought it was so outrageous that I would do that. Have Trump being violent. But I thought, he's sick of this. He's sick of these ridiculous investigations. And so, for him to turn the tables on Mueller and to be putting a magnifying glass up to his face, I thought that was a kind of a powerful statement. You look to the right, just behind Trump, you see Jeff Sessions. He had recused himself of all of this, and he's just standing there looking off into oblivion. And then you have Comey and some other people that were involved on the left, and they're standing in the congressional chamber. So all this conspiracy theory that was based on lies to be used against Trump so they could impeach him, and they did. The House impeached him, but the Senate didn't. So conspiracy theories can be used in a negative way, but there are some conspiracy theories that can be turn out to be true. And I won't go into what those might be, but honestly, I don't trust the U.S. government in everything that they say they're going to do. And so I think it's good to have kind of a contrarian view of everything, and that you don't just take it all at face value. If they tell you that if your doctor says you should do this, are you going to just do it, or are you going to get a second opinion? That's kind of how I look at it.
Well, one of the things I really appreciate, I mean, love him or hate him, with I'm seeing a mix of comments here from various people on Alex Jones. Love him or hate him, I think he raises a good point when he says that Latin phrase "qui bono," like who benefits financially from anything, any sort of action, government or otherwise, I think is a very important thing to always keep in mind. Qui bono, who benefits.
Yes, that's a good point. Put up the sketch.
Okay.
So this is a time lapse we're going to show you of me working on a new sketch of Alex Jones. So I've always wanted to draw him. He's such a colorful character. And I just did that right. I did this right here in my studio. And, I draw a few of these sketches a week, people that I find interesting. And Alex Jones is one of those people. I mean, the guy's been through the ringer. I mean, it's amazing, that he's been canceled from so many things. But so here I am working on his eye, kind of blocking it in. And pretty quickly they start to look like something. It's kind kind of fun to do. But some of the early shows I saw him on, I was with like Joe Rogan. We talked about him in the last YouTube live a couple days ago, and saw him on his show, and he would say something, and Joe Rogan would be like, "I've never heard that before. That can't be true. Go look it up." And he would point to his producer to go look it up on the computer, and then a few minutes later get back on and say, "Oh my gosh, that's true. I can't believe that." So I mean, Alex Jones, he has all these facts, all these like information in his head that he'll just spout off, and some of it just sounds so outrageous, but a lot of it is based on some true things. And I think some of those episodes, he touched on such controversial topics that they actually scrubbed it from YouTube, and of course on Spotify. They wouldn't even allow them to people to watch those anymore. And I don't know about you, but when people forbid me to watch something or to research something or find out more about it, it causes me to feel sort of suspicious that maybe they're hiding the truth. I mean, if we have an open arena of ideas and freedom of speech, people should be able to make up their own minds whether or not something is true or not. So I find that interesting. One of those things about conspiracy theories.
It's called the Streisand effect, where Barbara Streisand she didn't want people to take photos of her property, and so she made a big deal about it on the news, and then it became like people were taking more photos of her property because she was making a big deal about it. It's the same way when the government bans you, when they make something a bit foreboding, right? It suddenly becomes more interesting, more popular, more covert, I guess.
Well, I think they've done that with Alex Jones. I mean, the guy's become kind of an iconic legend amongst conspiracy theory people or people on the far right. I think that he's an interesting guy to listen to, and a lot of times, he'll be one of the first ones to mention something, and then it'll become news all over the place. It's just kind of fascinating. So I'm putting in his beard. He's grown this scruffy beard since he's been banned. He used to always be beardless, but he's got a good face. I always say that.
Thank you, Jon McNaughton, for the very nice comment.
Yeah, he's said some funny things over the years, about turning the frogs gay. Everyone made fun of that, and it's kind of a funny statement, but it was based on some research that he said the government was doing, where they were actually doing that experiment or something.
They were a study, I can't remember, but it was they were able to transsexualize the frogs, like turn them into another gender.
Yeah.
Kind of where you get the Jurassic Park. Life finds a way, right?
So when he first says that, I mean, it's just like, oh my gosh, what are you talking about? You're insane. But it was based on something that was really happening, but the way he says it is just hilarious.
So we have it was based off a Berkeley study.
He had the information based off a Berkeley University study about atrazine. Interesting. Yeah. So yeah, I like hearing what he has to say. I've watched him do some funny things where he'll like crash a convention or something. I saw this one where he got into a Google convention, the Google company, and he was walking around trying with his mic and trying to interview people, and all the staffers were trying to get him out of there, and he's just yeah. And then what was that one, Seth, that you talked about earlier to me that he snuck into?
Oh, I mean, the Bohemian Grove.
The Bohemian Grove.
Right. That was the one where I was just listening to Joe Rogan. I thought, oh, this is funny. This is funny episode. I've never heard anything about Alex Jones, and they were talking about Bohemian Grove, and I was like, what? And then they pulled up the clips and the video, and what's more is they pulled up him asking that guy, that CNN contributor, that former Republican contributor guy, who's a giant, and he gets him on camera saying, "You shouldn't have snuck in there. That was illegal," and Joe Rogan, and no, not Joe. Alex Jones is like, "Yes!" He gets it on camera. He's all excited that he got that.
Yeah. Those are kind of classic. Karen, thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, he's done some interesting things over the years. The one thing I saw him do one time that I just thought was pretty impressive was there was a bunch of people standing at some Bilderberg conference or somewhere, and they had a police line with yellow tape, and all these people were standing there behind this police line, and there was a couple of people out in the road, and they were all chanting, and all of a sudden Alex Jones shows up with a bullhorn, and he just walks right under that police tape right out into the road and starts saying his stuff, just ignored it completely. And I was just thinking, that dude, I mean, he's not afraid of anything. Do you remember when he was on Piers Morgan's show, when he used to have a show in the US?
You mentioned that. I've never actually seen that.
You never saw that?
You said it was the highest rate.
He gets on there, and Pierce wants to interview him and ask him questions, and Alex Jones just was yelling and just saying all this stuff the entire show. I mean, he owned the show, and Pierce kept saying, "Well, I'd like to ask a few questions," and he would just keep going and going. And Piers Morgan acted he was all upset after the show, like, I just can't believe that my guest did that. But then it turned out to be his most viewed show he ever had.
Well, that's not saying much for Piers Morgan. But of course, yeah, with Alex Jones on that show, yeah.
So anyway, I thought that was hilarious. So the Common Nerd. Love your work, John. Can't wait for the rest of my tax return. I'm going to buy more of your large prints. Love hanging them in my living room. Thank you. Forgotten Man stuff are some of my favorites. Well, I'll be very grateful to the IRS if you buy one of my prints.
First time.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's way cool. Right now, one of the things that's really big is we're doing the NFTs of my artwork. You may have seen some articles about that on the internet. Hold on a second. Oh, this is the quote that I put with the sketch. Can you pause the video right there? Okay, this is great. Alex Jones said, it is every American's right to question any big event, especially when it's seized on to take the basic liberties of Americans. And so, like, anytime anything happens in our country and they use it to take away our rights, I think it's good to question it, is what he's saying. And I thought that was a pretty powerful statement, because that's sort of the mantra that he lives by. So that's why I put that quote on there with him. Thought that was interesting. Okay. Well, now we're going to share with you the conspiracy theory that you've all been dying to hear.
This is the one that I brought up just before the show started.
Yeah. Seth is from Canada, so he's allowed to divulge this conspiracy theory. This may be the first time you've ever heard this.
This is not the first time you guys have heard this. So
First time I ever heard it.
I'm from Alaska. I've got Canadian heritage. My dad's got Canadian heritage. And I'm eligible for the dual citizenship. We love Canada. I've got a lot of friends in Canada. So the trucker convoy that's going on right now, it's a big deal for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
So I've not put a lot of stock into this conspiracy theory, but it keeps coming up. And then Ben Shapiro talked about it today on his show. He's like, "Don't talk about this,
You mean
guys."
you're not taking credit for the whole conspiracy
I'm not
theory?
taking credit for. I saw it. I read it. Okay, so I don't know if this conspiracy is true, but the more and more I think about it, the more and more it looks like it's true.
Okay, you're backtracking now because you were saying this is 100% true, and you told
I
me
didn't say it. I didn't say that. I said I'm starting to believe that it's true.
you're
And
starting to believe.
it's
All
this
right.
conspiracy that Justin Trudeau is actually the son of Fidel Castro. And here's the picture. Here's the here's the photographic evidence, right?
So that's Fidel on the right and
Yeah, well,
Justin on
black
the
and
left.
white photos are Fidel Castro and Justin Trudeau put out a public statement mourning the death of Fidel Castro.
His dad.
Well, they say that there's a rumor, and then they're like, "Oh no, it's been debunked. That's not true." Then there's Ben Shapiro was talking about it on the show today, and he says, "Well, don't spread this rumor, but there's a rumor that Trudeau's mom was known to be a swinger, and that she visited Cuba supposedly before Justin Trudeau was born,
Oh,
9 months, but."
it's got to be true.
No, you and I looked. We both looked, and we were like, I don't know if that's true or not. But I
Boy,
look at
he
these
sure
photos.
does look like he could be the son of Castro, huh?
He does. You just give him some fatigues, some Cuban fatigues, and there you go,
All
man.
right. Well,
He
that just rocked my world, Seth.
certainly loves talking about him and loves acting like him.
Okay. Yep. That's pretty cool. Okay. One last conspiracy theory we're going to share. Take that off the screen so we can see the crossing the swamp.
Oh,
Put the
okay,
crossing the
okay. You
swamp
want
up there.
me crossing the swamp? Here we go.
Mhm.
Let's see if I can get that for you.
That's on the background.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
background.
Hold on.
Okay.
It's going to be. We've got. You can just see that background here.
Can you just do the background?
Let me see if I can get that for
I
you.
want to show that picture. I'm going to share the ultimate conspiracy theory.
I can't get that background because I've got to do an overlay. So you talk and stall for a little bit, and I'll get you.
All right. So in my painting, Crossing the Swamp, there's a figure on the front of the boat that is supposed to be Nikki Haley, and she's pushing the, helping to steer the boat. Now, if you look at her face very closely, it looks a lot like JFK Jr. So I'll just leave it at that. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's the.
We'll look it up. Crossing the Swamp.
There you go.
And now, just because I said that's a conspiracy theory doesn't mean that's what I did. But I just want to give you something to stress about and talk about.
No, that was what other people said about it. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's all we have tonight for the Patriot Art Show. And thank you for joining us. Had a lot of fun talking about conspiracy theories, although we only really got into a couple of small ones.
Yeah,
didn't dig into the real.
Hey, before we go, I did see a comment from somebody that was really good idea. They said it was from Vicky. You read this one. It says Vicky says you should do a collection and put out a poll of possibilities and let us vote on which people you do sketches of next.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I'm open to ideas. There's not many people I wouldn't draw. I actually did a drawing once of Hillary Clinton, and I sent it to Sean Hannity because at the time he was buying most all my sketches. And when he got that picture, he said, "John, you'll have to pay me to buy that one." So not everybody likes them. But I just have fun doing them. I mean, they're all for my sketchbook anyway. So yeah, I'd be interested in doing a poll and seeing what y'all want to do. Let's see. You lay so many Easter eggs in your work, it's mind-boggling. Thanks, GL. It's mind-boggling to me too. I just, as I'm painting, if I start getting a little bit bored, I start thinking about what can I put in here to have fun with this, and look, 100 years from now, people are going to be looking at my paintings and they're going to find things that nobody knew about. Maybe I should like have a secret book where I list all the things that nobody ever mentioned that were hidden in the paintings, and it'll be discovered in 100 years from now, and then people can like find out about it. It's like Da Vinci, he wrote backwards, and did all the secret stuff.
Oh, that's a
It'll
theory.
be the McNaughton code instead of Da Vinci code. I'm serious about that.
The McNaughton code.
The McNaughton code. So, yeah, good ideas.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Until next Monday, make sure that you subscribe to our channel if you haven't done that already. And next Monday, we'll be on at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We do this every Monday and Wednesday. And we're just having a blast here on the Patriot Art Show. Talk to you later.